Hey guys, I'm back with another market video, and today's video is probably going to split into two because of time restraints, but also because there's been a lot of activity on the booster box market, and I think it kind of deserves its own video. Um, so I'm seeing price increases across the board, and I don't think this is just me hyping it up. I think it's a very clear difference in the data we've seen before. Um, the last month has been quite stagnant. Um, and because like since I get the prices every day, it's and I look at the quantities, it's kind of more obvious that we are in a more shifting tone. We're seeing price highs, which is the more obvious thing. So Scarlet Violet base won about 160 for the first time. That's MSRP. It's now and that's the lowest booster box on the market basically. Because Battle Styles are sold out. So for Sword and Shield, the cheapest one was like 177, and for Scarlet Violet, the next cheapest thing is Stellar Crown. But yeah, we've seen Paldea hit a new high of 208. When it's been up and down, we're seeing Temporal at a new high of 178. I don't even think it's on Pokemon Center yet, but it's still selling about $17 above MSRP. Twilight's at a new high of 209. Stellar is at a new. I think it's been around 172 actually before. Um, but and even for the other boxes, Obsidian and Paradox, we're seeing that the quantities still look good. So yeah, I think that there's more. It's showing like two things. Like everyone knows Scarlet Violet is like something to buy into. It's easy to sell, so people who want to flip will buy it. But also like there's only so much to go around. Like every time we get like new drops of like prismatic, journey together, and whatnot, like journey together is selling for like $200 a booster box, and it's a lot more risky, and you can't even always get it. Like people have a hard time getting the boxes, versus you can buy these boxes on TCG Player. Sometimes you get deals, and so it makes more sense that these are appreciate. And some of these have had a long time coming. Like the first four sets of Scarlet Violet, they are unlikely to get reprinted as booster boxes. I've seen Paldea Evolved booster bundles get reprinted, but not the booster boxes. And so we're finally, it seems like we're finally hitting some of the resistance. Some of the resistance is going away. All right, so Scarlet Violet base, yeah, there were a bunch of boxes bought yesterday, but what I'm seeing consistently is that when I scroll down, it's like a lot of the the listings are finally approaching like a more consistent, like higher pricing. Um, with Scarlet Violet, what I've noticed, like the quantities are more like you saw, like it's like more mid tier, um, and like you've seen like in the last 2 months the quantity's gone up, but in general, like Scarlet Violet base has not been something that people have really wanted. Like this is like the weak view, um, because everyone's like, hey, there's another step better and whatnot. The fact that it's going up shows that like people are starting to shift their mindset or be like, hey, there's not enough market opportunities. I should buy this booster box instead of something else. Like with Prismatic going up at like I don't know what Prismatic is yet today, but it was like 130 yesterday, and so it's only like $30 more to get a booster box rather to get a Prismatic ETB. But yeah, we're seeing sales go up, and let's look at the yeah, people are buying at the 160, so there are confirmed sales. And how many are at the 160 price? So 160 goes up to that's still about 160, and this 165. So this is the 165 sort of floor, or that's how many needs to be bought. So that's 5, 11, 15, 17, like 18 boxes that they bought for it to go up another $5. And this phenomenon is not just happening with Scarlet Violet base. And that adds more sort of hype to this because pretty much like with the booster boxes, what people would do is that like to look at them and be like, depending on their investing style and their price point, like, hey, I want to invest in this. Oh, like a lot of it's like opportunity wise. Like pretty much like think about this. If everything stayed the same, but Stellar Crown suddenly got a reprint. It was $100. A lot of people will buy the Stellar Crown reprints because it's just an obvious buy. It's like so much cheaper than everything else. Like MSRP pricing is like the norm nowadays, and like I'll go over the rest of the data, but we're seeing more things like this. I've been looking at the sales. And I'm like, okay, the sales are not very strong, or they're getting stronger, but there's not enough, and there's too many people listing the box at a lower price. But at some point, the sentiment of the sellers also go like, "Hey, no, I'm not listing for a lower price. I want this price." So you're starting to see that happen with Scarlet Violet base. There is, like that'll probably sell in like a day or so, and we've seen things happen where, again, since I take look at data every day, we've seen things happen where people will um, offload their products and make it so things are cheaper. Like Paldea had a recent thing of that where like Heavy Tech and some other sellers were selling Paldea for like 190, like 195 ish, and so Paldea got like a price drop, but like most sellers aren't really going to sell at that price, and a lot of them were waiting for the price to go back up, and now it's finally going back up. Paldea is hitting a new high. Like the resistance comes from people like sellers willing to sell at a lower price and give a discount, and also people saying, "Hey, should I really buy at that price? It's really expensive." And yeah, $200 for a booster box is pretty expensive. Like you could have gone Paldea Evolved for like less than 100 like a year ago. Let me see if that's fully accurate. Yeah, you see like how much, or like at least on TGP it was like about 100. Other sites you probably could got for less, so it like doubled in like a year. But let's look at Paldea Evolved. So it's up to like 208, and how many things are at that price? So there's all these at 208, and 209, and then you get 220 over here. This is the big difference. Over here it's probably like 212, so it's also a difference. But how many boxes is that? That's 12. So here, this is sort of the resistance. It's 209 price. So, but you have to look at the selling rates. How much is the stuff selling? Um, Paldea will go up and down, but yeah, we might see it for Paldea specifically. We might see that it takes a little bit for these boxes to sell out at 52. But the thing is that this has happened before. Like at a week, in a week's time, the market will recover. That's how fast this market kind of shifts with these sort of quantities. That happened with Paldea several times because the value is there. But yeah, for Paldea, like yeah, it's being resisted by this gamer's choice listing over here. City Flames, the price didn't really change, but the demand did go up for that. So 15 were bought yesterday, and then 189.99. See how many listings are to like the next big price point. So this is like 195 over here. Um, these are loose packs. So let's just say what is it to get to 195? Well, you have to buy 1, 2, 6, 12, 13. Yeah, you have to buy 13 boxes to get to 195. And typically it sells like 6 to 10 boxes a day. And so Obsidian also has some potential. Like it's sort of like I'm not telling you that like tomorrow all the prices are gonna skyrocket, but I'm telling you probably like the trends will happen in the next month or so. Probably next few days, maybe next week, maybe next 2 weeks. But yeah, like I've been sort of looking at the supply going down. So like you when you take the data every day, you get a sense of like, oh, like there's so much available all the time, and every time the price tries to go up a little bit, it goes back down because someone relisted it. Like over time, that started to slow down, and now like it's finally reached the point where all the boxes are like, no, no, we're finally all going up. Paradox Rift also around the same price. But yeah, there's been more sold. Like 20 has been sold the last 2 days, and over here, there's 3 boxes there for 160, and then you get to 165 over here. So you just have to sell like 4 boxes and you get to the next $5 price point. Paradox Rift in general has been like rising in demand. Temporal Forces. Let me just want to double check that this really hasn't sold out. Um, yeah, they're still available in Pokemon Center. I expect Stellar Crown to sell out pretty soon. Temporal Forces, if it did have a crazy buying rate, I don't really know the buying rate. Um, it's possible that's gonna sell too, but top selling. Um, Brilliant Star, Stellar Crown, Temporal. Yeah, I think everyone's getting hyped up on. There's gonna be no MSRP booster boxes left soon. Um, that's also a factor. So Pokemon Center is also putting pressure on the market. It's good to have awareness of other parts of the market because it's still speculation, but you have some understanding of what could move the market in these ways. Um, Typically, this sort of thing happens when people expect the box to sell soon on Pokemon Center. And yeah, the box has been rising a lot. But I noticed the Temporal yesterday. Supply of Temporal has always seemed kind of low. And yesterday there was only like one listing at the price it was at, and over here it's at about 180. And then how many does it take to get to the next one? So it's pretty much over here. This is like 180, 183, and then this is like, yeah. But yeah, there's not that many boxes of Temporal on the market. For Twilight, we reached the new high over there. There's more boxes being bought, 23. And yeah, I don't want to like bore you, but I do clearly see it's 218 over here, which is definitely a big price jump. And yeah, that's like four boxes to get over there. So some of them, the looking at the sales or the listings, is stronger than others. But if you look at all the boxes, you kind of see the trend a little more clearly. And then Stellar Crown, 172, not the biggest price increase, but Stellar Crown is kind of like Obsidian Flames, to be honest. It's one of the more mid tier sets, at least as far as the cards in it, and it's still very popular for whatever reason. Like I think there's Charizard or whatever, and Stellar Crown has the small set size, and it has the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur. But yeah, Stellar Crown keeps like going back up, and the Surging Sparks has stayed about the same. But even Surging Sparks demand has been pretty consistent at 20. Like it's a $250 booster box and still sells that many. Um, yes, it did kind of decline. Actually, it's increased in the last um, week, which is interesting. And then just a quick update on Sword and Shield. So there was a little bit of increase over here on Lost Origin sales at 7, and Lost Origin's been floundering, but we do see there's only one box at this 360 and then jumps back up to 376. For a box this old and this expensive, the price change might not move as much because these Sword and Shield boxes have been known to go up and down for a lot. But for Scarlet and Violet, it doesn't make as much sense because the boxes, they're expensive, but they're not nearly as expensive. So we won't see like an Evolving Skies sort of decrease. Um, but yeah, definitely the market strength is showing that the Scarlet Violet is very hot right now. And I'm waiting to see when it translates to Sword and Shield. So far, Sword and Shield has been kind of slow, and I've seen just small signs that it might do better. Like Lost Origin, like there's only like one sale over there. Um, but yeah, Lost Origin and Sword and Shield in general has been so expensive that um, it's more likely to have the ups and downs. To be honest, like it's been 360 before. It's not a new high versus Scarlet Violet. These are new highs, and these booster boxes are not even that old. Um, so yeah, Scarlet Violet's very hot right now. I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think. Um, Hopefully, it doesn't just seem like I'm just spreading hype. Like it really does seem like, at least in the next month, the Scarlet Violet boxes will continue to go up. Especially when I do know for a fact that the booster boxes are like getting close to selling out. Stellar Crown definitely, and Temporal, I'm just kind of guessing, but based on the general trend, like once it's the last booster box, it's popular enough that it will sell out like relatively soon. It could be like 1 to 3 months, but that's kind of my estimate on that. All right, that's it for today's video. Thanks, guys. Bye.